All right, so what we want to do is let's do use my staging or my school server website as an example. Because earlier I was working on something that I could, oh look, and that's our stuff up there. So earlier I was working on a function that I actually did some more edits to. This is the wrong one. Students Premium Design Works. Functions.php. Oh, but if I do this, we won't be able to see the change in there. So let's just go back to style.css, because then we can see this stuff up there. Style, student premium brackets. All right, so if we are here on our local version, right, Student Supreme Design Works 88888, and we view page source. And we wait for some reason. And if I then go to my main style sheet here, right now, you see these two comments, testing local environment again, testing get pull origin master. So basically, if I am here and let's move this stuff kind of like that. If I am here on my style sheet and I make another comment here, and you would think by now I could type CSS comments. Another test demo of get pull origin master, right? And if I save that, and again, we are here in my local server space through MAMP, again, using MAMP Pro, Students of Premium Design Works. Let's see if we can pull that over a little bit. No. So it's the local version of that. So now that this is saved and we're here on the local and I refresh, now you will see show up another test demo of get pull origin master. But to my sCCC.premiumdw.com, and we view page source, then we go to the style sheets. We do not see that new comment. So what we want to do then is, first and foremost, is sync this change to GitHub. And if we do that right now, if we go to GitHub desktop, you will see that here is where I was, like I said, I was working on the functions file earlier, so it's going to update something in my functions file that needed to be updated. But here is then that test comment in my style sheet. So if I leave that as that's the commit comment, commit and sync master. This is my whole life, that little thing spinning. And if we go now to my GitHub, and here is the comment. It updated functions.php. It also updated style.css. Okay, so there it is in GitHub, but still here at the live version in the style sheet, it's still not there. So what I need to do is, let me ask you a question, Diane. Have you set up a private public key pair yet?
I think we did that together.
Okay, so on GitHub, if you are logged in, and if you go under your accounts, settings, SSH and GPG keys, you will see here that I have a set of public keys that then will interact with the private key on my server. Okay, so to do this, that's where, if we go back to set up WordPress in GitHub, there is the link to ITC 210 resources by Thomas Wilburn. And that's where under his EC2 WordPress and Git lecture, there's a lot of server install stuff on this, but this is where you have to authenticate the server with GitHub, where you need to run a keygen, which will generate the key pair. So SSH, keygen, etc. And then you will need to get the contents of the public one and paste it into the GitHub so it talks to each other. Okay. So once you've got that done and you have, so here is my ps1678 dreamhost.com public one. Now, in order to get this change and all theme changes up and running on my server space, right, my live server, this is where previously I have set up, or I have on my server version, I have already cloned the theme, right? You did that already, correct? Okay. So from here, it's just a matter of, if we now log in, or if I open up terminal, that's on the Mac. I don't know what yours is going to be on the PC.
It's just git bash.
Command line? What's your command line application?
I mean, there's a command line, but there's also like a GitHub bash.
Okay. So either way, what you're going to need to do then from here is, this is where now, after you guys have done your stuff, all three of you have your themes all synced up locally, right? Now you need to then sync that to the server. So instead of FTP, you would want to here SSH into okay. So, whoops, I forgot my username. So this is the shell access stuff. So the user that has shell access.
And that's the user for GitHub or?
The user for your server. So your DianeSelvy.com.
The ESTP.DianeSelvy.com.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically whatever sign-in that I set up through WordPress.
Through your DreamHost account.
Okay.
So in other words,
so you just use your DreamHost login.
if I'm trying to SSH shell access into my DreamHost server, which is registered to, host whatever domain name, okay? So if I look at all my domains, I have a shitload of domains, right? Under users, I have the user msunkula that has shell access.
Okay, I remember doing that.
On PS16781, right? So I'm on a private server, right? Yours is going to be whatever machine that yours are hosted on. Mine is a private server hosted PS16781. So what I need to do then via shell command line is SSH. That's the command to secure shell into your server. MSINKULA at ps16781.dreamhost.com. It's going to ask me for my password. So I put my password in there. So now I am in my in my server PS16781. From here, if I run the ls command, list whatever, I don't know, I can't remember what S stands for, but list what's in there. All those domains that I have, like poople.mikesunkula.com, right, when I was testing out Drupal, right? So here is scc.premiumdw.com. So what I need to do is I need to navigate my way into my themes folder on sccc.premiumdw.com. So I run the command cd, change directory, sccc, then if I hit the tab, it's going to autocomplete wp.content, because that's the next fold. You might need to get into WordPress, then into WP content, then into themes, then into Students of Premium Design Works. So now that I'm there, if I run the ls command, it shows me all the files inside my theme, right? So because I've made a change and pushed that change to GitHub, this theme and GitHub are out of sync. GitHub has the latest changes. This one doesn't.
And this isn't GitHub files, right? This is the files on your server.
Right. This is showing me the files, all the theme files in Students of Premium Design Works as they are on the server at this time. We need to now that we're logged in here, and again, that this is a clone of the repository on GitHub, we need to now go and talk to GitHub to see what the differences are and pull those changes to the server. Okay. So we use the command git pull origin master. And because this is a clone, and because we have the private public server key pair that'll talk to each other, it's going to get the private, look at the private key pair, and then go attempt to talk to the public one, authenticate, and then run this command. So now that that's the command that I want to run, and I hit enter, it's going to say enter passphrase for key. Well, I entered a passphrase. You don't have to have a passphrase, but I did one anyway. And once I put in that passphrase and hit enter, it then goes and looks at github.com msunkula at that repository and compares all the files, and it finds that there is a difference in functions.php and styles.php, and then runs this where it says 2 files changed, 6 insertions and 4 deletions. So now if we go back to viewing source on my remote for styles.css in the themes students in the themes folder in WP content on my live server, right? And I refresh, it now has that comment there. Okay, so that's what you guys need to do. That's your last step.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just the part that gets a little fuzzy for me is with all the keys, but now that it's recorded, that'll be a lot easier to just go through and like look and see and compare my dream host to yours. So yeah, I think that'll be fine.
Okay, so boobs and butt stuff.